Eight Limbs Us is sponsored by Muay Nation and Onyx MMA in Singapore. And this was my fight against Nong, or Wassana, up in Pak Tong Chai, which is just below Karat, which is kind of the gateway to Isan. And it was a good crowd. This was at a temple. So there was lots of festival stuff going on. And I love walking through these crowds on the way in and out of the ring. It's a very odd experience with everybody staring at you. But I love big audiences watching fights. They get very excited and you can kind of feel the vibe of it. It's Jaidi helping me get into the ring. And I'd only met my corner maybe an hour before the fight. They were cornering for someone else, some guys that were fighting that night. And so they didn't know me, but the promoter had introduced me and said they'll corner for you. So I did my best to let him know what kind of fighter I am and what to expect so that he wasn't, telling me to do stuff that I don't do or frustrated that I wasn't doing what he was saying. I'd seen my opponent just before the fight, and we'd stood next to each other, and she seemed tall but not really big. But then when I actually saw her in the ring, and actually when we were putting our gloves on, and she was actually in her Muay Thai clothes, I was like, oh damn, she's much bigger than I thought she was. They do this for kind of events. They take photos with you and your opponent in the ring that they'll print in the newspaper or use for promotional stuff. And they'll have a head honcho come and put these garlands over your head. These ones were a little bit tight, so they were a little bit hard to get over the monkan. But they're fresh flowers and they smell really nice. I'm a big fan of these garlands. I'm not entirely sure who that guy is, but he was very important. And you can see that big poster straight ahead that's behind the VIP. Those are the important people who sit up on a stage and watch from this elevated position. And when I was having my gloves put on, I saw the poster for the first time, and I'm on it. A very large photo of me, actually, and I don't know where they got the photo. It's not a flattering photo. I have my mouthpiece in, I look like a gopher, but I look very not Thai, and I've got my tattoo and stuff, so I think it was good for their advertisement. But I was like, oh damn, that is a very large, unflattering photo of me to have as the backdrop to my fight. But that's alright, it happens. I was the only Westerner on the card. Kevin and I were the only Westerners at the event, which we've gotten pretty used to. And I didn't get to see my opponent's Ram Muay. I generally don't because I'm doing mine as well. But I was thinking to myself how cool it is. I used to get really upset back when I was fighting in New York. They stopped letting me do the Ram Muay. They said for time purposes that only professionals were allowed to do it, which really pissed me off. But having been fighting in Thailand for almost 4 years now, with 135 fights, I've done my Ram Muay probably 130 times. I think there's only been a handful of times that they've said you can only do the Y Crew for time purposes if you're fighting on TV or something like that. And I remember when Master K taught it to me, so I love that I've gotten that much practice in it, and I've gotten to think about my trainers and teachers and family and all that stuff that many times. It's really cool. My opponent didn't do a Ram Muay, which I think I was aware of, but you can always feel the crowd kind of vibing on or being weirded out or whatever it is by my Ram Muay. They like this last part. They like the stalking part. So I didn't really know what to expect from my opponent in this fight. The guy who set up the fight for me from my gym swore that I'd fought her before, but I didn't recognize her name, and upon seeing her I definitely had not. But her name, Nong. The Psalm part means orange, and she had an orange on her shorts, which I thought was really cute. It's probably just her nickname that she also uses as her fight name. But I had no idea what to expect off of her. I noticed pretty quickly that she was southpaw, but her kicks are really strong. She's got a good kick. So immediately I knew that I wanted to kind of stay closer to cut off the distance and range of that kick, which you can cut off the power by coming closer, but I kept doing this obnoxious thing of like falling off of my strikes and bouncing out. So it actually makes her kicks look more effective that I'm doing that stumbling backwards thing, and means I gotta drive through a bad neighborhood twice to like get back in to where I'm more effective on the inside. But I was trying to kick her legs a lot, which I've been working on leg kicks with Pinu kind of a lot lately, and it's not any kind of strategy, it's just that he kicks my legs, so I have been trying to kick him back. But it's been effective in my fights for the past maybe 10 or 12 fights. It's been working well. She has really good cutting of the angle and backing up and posting and being able to strike as you're coming in. So it was difficult to close that distance in this first round, even though I just keep trying to do it. So even though she's scoring, and those kicks definitely add up, the way I fight, those early round scores might not matter so much ultimately in the long run. And if you keep moving forward, they don't score as high anyway, just because they're not as effective. But she's definitely tagging me a lot in this first round. But once I grabbed her here for the clinch, I could feel that she is not a clincher. So I was like, definitely got a clinch. So getting a little bit of air, jumping on those knees looks good. That turn was really good, especially because she's bigger. You can see my corner's excited about that. And this ref is cool. He's totally just like watching from a distance. He's like keeping time, but seeing how it's going to play out. He didn't have a very hands-on approach in these early rounds. So between these rounds, my corner was basically like, just stay closer to her. They didn't seem to be too worried about her tagging me with those kicks so much. It's only round one. So going into round two, I was like, I just got to stay closer. I'd come to peace with the fact that she kicks hard, that I was going to be kicked on my way in. She kind of gravitated to that corner a lot, which a lot of Thais like to fight with their backs against the rope, but against the corner is not fantastic. So if you can cut off the ring to put him in the corner, it's really good. And she's not very good at scoring in the clinch. She's definitely trying to change position, but I think that my grip on her and my turning, which in this fight I was turning pretty well, was very tiring for her. I could feel her fading pretty quickly. The clinch was very effective, and I was scoring really well in it. There are times that I kind of stagnate and try to hold a position, which does nothing for anybody, and the ref tends to break it, but I was doing all right in this fight. She's cutting that angle so nice. I need to learn that, steal that from her. But here she's trying to do her like backup, post, and attack thing, and it's just not working as well in this round. I think maybe because she's tired and I'm coming in faster. But here the ref is just trying to get us off the ropes mostly. They'll like pop you off of the ropes by pulling on the ropes when you're leaning into them. That was great. She started kicking less hard, I think because I caught her kicks and maybe because I blocked a couple of them, so that hurt her shin. So taking the power out of those kicks made it much easier to brave coming in. She cuts that angle so nice though. So here she's trying to do what she was doing in round one, but she's much slower at it, so I'm able to close that distance. And those jumping knees look really good for me, especially as the smaller fighter. And she's starting to get tired already, so her kicks aren't as fast. My corner was very happy with that round. They were like, just go in and clinch her now. It's always funny when you get your corner basically pantomiming what they want you to do. It's basically this like headlock and just like jerking on the back of the neck. And my leg kicks were starting to add up. She wasn't really like blocking them as well anymore, and she was slowing down. Those are still good scores when she's kicking like that. But again, being able to close the distance and come through them, they're less effective. But I need to close the distance better than I'm doing right there. See that angle? God damn, it's so good. I need to cut off the ring. Having trouble catching her. When I'm like chasing someone like that, it does not look good. Does not feel good. It's like trying to catch a slippery fish or something. Here she's punching more than she was before. Didn't quite make it out that time. And I'm just in Terminator mode, trying to cut off the ring and grab her. There, got a good lock on her. And here, those knees are good coming up to the side like that. Because you're on one leg, in order to score them, if you can show that you stay on balance, it looks really good. Going after her legs again. So here my knees were starting to get more straight. Those ones on the side can tire people out, and they're good scores when they keep going, but when you can score by kneeing straight, like you can kind of see me getting in here. Oh, I had her head locked. So the ref gives her an 8 count. And I look like a total goober coming out of the corner for 8 counts, so I'm happy with this one. Came in, kind of jumping teeth. Normally I do this dumb power walk thing, so I'm glad that I'm getting past that a little bit. She's doing a wall of China, which has been a problem for me, but I was able to get past it with her, which made me very happy. And then unfortunately the camera's down a little bit, but he basically stopped it because she wasn't able to defend herself anymore, and instead of letting the fight go to knockout, they call it before anyone gets hurt. My corner was very happy. Yay. These guys were great. So then coming back out of the ring, you always have to find your shoes, which is a little bit difficult. Make sure I have my monk on, and then as you're wading back through the crowd, you'll get people who want to take photos, which feels awesome. It's like celebrity status. But I've been getting a lot lately. People giving me the thumbs up and going, yum, which means like awesome or great. Putting thumbs up for the photo behind me. I was very happy. Yum. So you just wade back through. You can usually hear like the music pumping from the stage where they're doing live shows. And this is where we were set up, was behind these bleachers, which was kind of a cool little area. It was quiet back there. That guy gave me ice. He was nice. And so when we get back there and they're helping to take my gloves off, there had been this guy prior to the fight who stood in front of me and was like, kick her, just kick her, make her tired. And I'm like, no, I'm a knee fighter. And he's like, no, just kick. So when he came and helped take my gloves off, I was like, hey, knee fighter. And he was like, yeah, okay, all right, I believe you now. It was a fun fight.